Okay, morning folks. Welcome to the briefing on Saturday the 28th. I've got the 12 o'clock chart up there, and you can see that high pressure been around for several days now. And you would think that with the high pressure established in the same place and the pressure more or less the same over the last 3 or 4 days, that the weather would be a sort of rerun of the same thing every day, but it's not quite. It's just sort of got slight variations, which is always a surprise. Different areas get different things each day. So what we've got here now is just a slightly more easterly flow. I mean, yesterday was northerly, about 010, 020. Now the wind's coming a little bit more from the northeast, bringing in a slight change to the air mass. You can see the isobars are fairly well spaced apart. 1024 down over northern France and 1028 over the centre of the country. It's not a strong flow, but it is also influenced by this frontal systems out to the east of us, with some instability there. So quick look at the TAFs just to see what they're suggesting, and some interesting ones here. Bryce Norton saying later on scattered at 4,000 feet, and they're giving 0307 knots. Farnborough are saying 368 knots, but they've been saying that for the last couple of days, but then they swing it round to the east, and I think it'll be sort of 020 by mid-late morning, and they're saying scattered at 2,000 feet. Gatwick 0206 knots, and I think Heathrow at about the same. And around here, they're all saying scattered, and then overcast at 2.5, which I think is going to be about right over here for the day. Upper winds, probably more like about 030, 040. So northeasterly, I think 10 knots over most of the centre of the country is about right. It'd be like that for most of the day. And the sat pick, again, a bit of a rerun of yesterday and the day before, and it'll depend on how quickly it clears, you know, how thick it is in certain areas. It does look like it's going to be thickest over us, and then clearing out to the northwest. That seems to be the general trend of the forecast. And no upper cloud to speak of. Not a particularly strong inversion, as you'll see in a minute, over us, but lots of lingering cloud. Temperature-wise, the BBC were universally saying about 20, 21 degrees over most of the south of England. This seems to imply a little bit warmer out towards the northwest and the Cotswolds, but I'm working on about 20 degrees for most of the day. And dew points, currently they're around about 11s and 12s over most places. I think they'll be down around 9s over here, possibly a little bit lower. 8s. Put up a number of different soundings just to show you what I think's going to happen. This is over us. You can see the lines just in here, quite close together. And I think this is this afternoon. You play it back this morning, it's even closer. They're basically together. So by the afternoon, we're probably going to have with dew points about 9, somewhere around about, maybe a little bit higher than that, and cloud tops about 5. Moving further to the north, this is the Oxfordshire area. Again, lines a little bit further apart this time. With the dew points around about 9, you're going to see hopefully 4,500 foot cloud base north of Oxford. And out over the Cotswolds, same sort of picture. Lines have come apart, and again, sort of 4,500 foot cloud base. Top Meteo is suggesting the same, as you would expect, because it's taking the modelling data from this. And that's basing it all on about 20 degrees. It'll take a long time to get there. This is late afternoon, over 4 o'clock. So depending on how quickly the overcast clears, will depend on how good it gets. The actual ascents, yesterday I showed a Lark Hill ascent, and it actually showed an inversion at 3,000 to 4,000 feet, which trapped all the cloud. That air mass, the overnight inversion at Camborne, shows exactly the same picture. So west of England, lots of spread out. This is the Nottingham one, which less of an inversion in here. Still cloud trapped in here overnight, but I think if you plug in 20 degrees, it'll have broken that inversion and you'll have reasonable conditions. East of us, Hurstmansoe overnight shows no inversion whatsoever. So hopefully the inversion we had yesterday is breaking down. It won't plague us like it did yesterday. I think it'll still be cloudy here, more so than to the northwest. And Top Meteo are showing lots of cloud to start off with, which is pretty much what we've got now. Taking a while to clear, that's 11 o'clock. And by 12, 1 o'clock, you can see it has turned into sort of cumulus, but spread out. They're showing that anywhere over us and east of us, spreading out quite happily. To the west, looking better. So by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I think you've got 4 to 6 eighths, maybe a little bit more than that, and chances are spread out in various places. But hopefully it'll be enough to get us away for the competition today. And then by 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, just like it did yesterday, breaking up completely, being quite nice late afternoon. Thermal heights. So let's look at it by 1 o'clock. Shows it's still not really getting going here, much above 2,500 feet, but better out in the sort of Oxfordshire Cotswolds area. And then by sort of 1, 2 o'clock, getting better here, 3,000 feet. And by mid to late afternoon, 14, 15, 1,600 meters out to the northwest of us, still only perhaps 12, 1,300 meters here, so 3,500 feet, but better out to the northwest. Remember, folks, this is predicted data. Anything could change, as we've discovered over the last few days. And Top Meteo's suggested distance is there. Not too far into East Anglia, is washed out. There's the northeasterly wind coming across the wash. Still quite breezy, 10 knots across the centre of the country, but that pretty much lines up with what Skyside are saying as well. As I say, it looks like it might be difficult here for a while to get away. Okay, so reasonable forecast, certainly flyable by late morning for club flying. Airspace wise, quite a lot of little things going on that are really relevant to us, but I'll pick out the most important ones. So round us, Southampton airspace, this big one here, that's just the normal hours of operation. 12 middle wallop gliding activity in there, 14, 16, 17, not really relevant. There's clay pigeon shooting, high intensity radio transmissions from Boscombe down. The danger area for Salisbury Plain, this is the larger area. There's no crossing service available, so if you did want to contact them, there's nobody actually to speak to. 15 is gliding for us. You've got it's to do with Reading Festival in here. No drones overflying that. The main one to be concerned about here is number 34. It's parachuting at Mark's Gibbon. This one is all day, 7 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock at night. Very often there's nothing actually happening. There's also an air display and parachuting up at Worcester near Malvern. That's very late afternoon. The air display is from 2 o'clock till 6 o'clock, and the parachuting is at 5:45. So not going to be an issue. The one down here is the Junior Nationals at Mimsfield. So in this area, we're likely to task. There's only really a couple of notable things with parachuting at Marsh Given and the one up in the Malverns. Right, airfield operation. Anybody that was here yesterday will be setting up the same way. Comp will be all on the runway, going in 09 direction for takeoff. Their relights will be on the south side. And when they come back in after the task, they'll all be landing either on the runway or grass south side and landing long. We're operating as club set up, grass north side. Launch point vehicle will be parked out somewhere opposite the trailers here in the private hangars. We'll be launching to the east, circuits to the north, land on grass north side. Or if you're caught down on the south, just land anywhere on the south side and we'll come and sort you out. It's fairly sort of standard setup, folks. Remember, it's reduced price aero towing, 1,500p for £16 if you are a current winch pilot. And what's the definition of a current winch pilot? I've done 3 winch launches in the last 90 days. Right, I think that's about it. I can't think of anything else to warn about. No jet movements, no other traffic of note. We'll go and get the stuff out the hangar, and I think it'll be a little while before we actually can get going for club flying. Hopefully we'll set up fairly shortly.